Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Bill Safranek Team Podcast. In this show, we look back upon our careers as educators and coaches. We'll talk about former students, people that we have coached, mentored, influenced, or had a connection with, and how they have become successful in the Lehigh Valley. My name is Bill Safranek. I'm a retired school teacher from Freedom High School for 30 years, and since 2016, I am now a real estate agent. So today I am talking with Walt Commiso, co-owner of Pride Abstract and Settlement Company. Hey, Walt.
Hey, Bill.
How are you?
Good.
Thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
I got to know Walt several years ago, probably back at the first real estate company that I worked with, Big Yellow. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then from then, like for the past 3 years, we've become friends and partners in this business. So I wanted to have you on the show, Walt, because you are really such a wealth of knowledge, not only in the title business, but also in the marketing business and even in the real estate business. So first, I thought maybe you could just take like a minute or two and tell us a little about yourself and the business and anything that you want to talk about.
Oh, sure. Love to. Back in, I worked for a couple of corporations on the technical side, electronic side, back in the early 80s. Then I got laid off from AT&T up in Allentown and said, hey, I'm going to go get my real estate license. So I did that. And I sold real estate for 12 years.
Really?
Yeah. And then me and a friend of mine, we opened up a company of our own, a real estate company, and I sold it to somebody in Quakertown. And then I got in the title about 28 years ago. And it was August 5th of 2005, and me and my wife opened up the business, and here we are 18 years later, still doing title.
Awesome.
So I have background in real estate and marketing, because in between those two jobs, I worked for another title company for 10 years as their marketing director. So
okay, that's great, Walt. You've been doing this a long time.
Yes.
Where did you actually start? Like, what your first office for Pride Abstract? Where was that based?
Quakertown, and now we have we're just opening a new office in Bethlehem, up on 35 Elizabeth Ave.
I did not know that.
No, it hasn't been public knowledge yet, but
yeah.
So we're excited about that because we have two other satellite offices in Whitehall and Bethlehem. So we wanted to get our own office in Bethlehem.
Nice.
And we have an office in Stroudsburg and here in Coopersburg. And we operate in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So it's exciting. Keep growing. You
are.
Yeah.
You just keep expanding this out. So we're just going to start off with some just basic questions about title.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start off with, how about it? I'm buying a home. Why do I need title insurance?
Well, the most important thing you want to protect is your biggest asset that you're of a purchase, which is a home. So what we do in title insurance is we make sure that there's no liens affecting the title, that everything has been transferred correctly going back for 60 years. We do a search. We want to make sure if there's any unpaid mortgages that, they're cleared up. There's no litigation going on against the property. It's to protect your interest in the property. So we don't want anybody to come 2 years later after you buy a property and then say, hey, man, the prior owner owed me $20,000 and you never satisfied the judgment. Now you have to pay it, because these liens and judgments follow the property, not the owner. So you would be liable if there's anything against that property. So that's what we insure.
Okay. So I go under agreement on a property, or my client goes under agreement. First thing we do is we get the agreement of sale over to you, and then it becomes kind of like a mystery process because we don't really have a lot to do with title as the realtor or the buyer. You get the agreement of sale, but can you kind of walk us through what really happens to find those liens and judgments? And you have a lot of people that work for you, so can you walk us quickly through the process?
So the process is, once we get the agreement of sale, we have somebody what we call order entry, and they put the all the information into our system. Our title system. We order a search. We send the information to the county searcher in that county. They'll go to the courthouse and look up all the records every time the deed has been transferred back 60 years. So, and they're looking for, just like I said, liens against the property. Maybe there was an estate. They want to make sure the estate was transferred and handled correctly and everything was done properly. We go and order tax certs. If there's a mortgage against the property, we'll order the payoff against the property, so we can pay that off when they refinance or purchase a property, and go to settlement. We work with the lender. Lender gives us all their figures. We get all the tax figures. We do all the prorations, put it all in the settlement sheet. And the lender sends us the money, and then we distribute it to everybody. And then we record, if there's a mortgage involved, record the mortgage and record the new deed and new owner's name.
Okay. So I was just thinking, this whole process, you've been doing this so long, has technology affected the process, slowed it down, made it easier, tougher? Anything over the years?
It's made it easier. We now record electronically. So we don't, when I first started in this business, you would mail everything, or we had a runner who went down to the courthouse and recorded the documents, the deed and the mortgages.
Right.
And now we just scan them in and record them electronically. So it makes it a lot easier. And I believe it's a lot cheaper. So, you know, even though we have to pay to record it online, like $4, $4.50, it's still, you don't have a runner, you don't have the fee to mail it out, and so it's really streamlined.
Yeah, I kind of remember even when I bought my first place years ago, it seemed like the title company almost had a title person sitting at the courthouse, and all they did was sit there and take your calls or whatever and search the title there. Like, is that true, or was that did you just have people, you know, driving back and forth?
No, usually the searcher, we'll say for Lehigh County, we have, it's a 2-person team that works up in the courthouse. They work in Lehigh and Northampton. Okay. So we'll email them the agreement of sale and our title order to do a search, and there's different searches. So there's a present owner lien search. There's a 60-year search for purchases. So we'll send them the order form, and they almost live at that courthouse, and they just get the order and start doing the search right there.
Do they work for you, or do they work for the
Some work for us, some work for themselves independently.
Okay.
So it all depends.
Interesting. How about this one? I had a client once ask me, not really ask me, they kind of told me, and I think I had to place a phone call into. The person didn't want to pay for title insurance, and I never had that happen before. So, I mean, nice thing about you is that you're a phone call away, or you're a text away. Anytime we need anything, you know, we could reach out to you. But so I called you, and I was like, Walt, what do we do here? Like, he doesn't want to pay for title insurance. So what do I tell him? Is title insurance necessary? Do they have to pay for it? How does that go?
There's 2 ways. If you're getting a loan, there's a lender's policy, and then there's an owner's policy. The lender is going to make you, as a condition for getting a loan, get title insurance. Okay. Now, let's say the title insurance is $1,000, okay, and you're buying a $100,000 home. You're putting $90,000 as a loan and $10,000 cash to purchase the home. The title insurance is based on the $90,000 for the lender. They're only paying the difference of $10,000, which could be $100, $200. So not to have themselves insured is really ridiculous, because if a title insurance company, let's say, first you get insurance because humans make errors. Otherwise, you wouldn't need insurance. So let's say that we missed the taxes, and the taxes weren't paid, and you bought the property. You're liable now to pay those taxes from the prior owner. That's why you get insurance. If you don't have insurance, I can say, sorry, you should have bought insurance. I would cover that. But since you didn't buy insurance, you're going to have to pay those taxes yourself. So it's real important to get title insurance. I bought many houses myself. I even get insurance because if I pay a claim of $2,000, $3,000, I can handle that. But if I buy a property for $300,000, I need my E&O insurance to help me recover that claim. So, I'm not shoveling $300,000 out of my own pocket. So that's what a lot of consumers don't understand. But in Pennsylvania, the owner's portion of title insurance is an option. It's optional. So the buyer doesn't have it. I've been doing this 28 years, and I've had 2 people who didn't buy title insurance.
Really? In
all those 27 years.
That's it.
And it's ridiculous for a couple $100.
So the lender requires.
How
about cash deal?
It's totally up to the buyer if they want title insurance.
Okay.
The thing in Pennsylvania is if I'm not going to provide title insurance, I can't even process the deal. Because the only way in Pennsylvania that I'm allowed to do that is if I'm insuring title. Because if I'm not insuring title, then I'm practicing law without a license. So I can't prepare legal documents. So that's the only difference.
Okay. How about this one? I've had this come up a couple times. Investors love to go to sheriff sales.
Mm-hmm.
Auctions show up. I don't know if they have to pay, all cash or a certain amount deposit there on site. So I'll have an investor ask me about, what do you think about a sheriff sale? I said, well, I think you're taking a chance. So what would be your advice to an investor out there that wants to go and buy a property, a foreclosure or a sheriff sale where maybe somebody owes taxes and it's going up for sale on the spot, at the courthouse or something? Do they still go through you? Or?
Yes, I would do the minimal, what we call a present owner lien search. So from the last time the deed was transferred, just look if there's any liens or anything against that, and everything was done correctly. You check with the tax, see if there's any tax liens. You can't tell about the present taxes until you order a tax search. So we're not going to do that part, but just make sure there's nothing against the property. So call me up, ask me to do a lien search for you. We can do that.
Pretty quick on that?
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Really in a day's time. The only thing is it could be an estate was filed years and years ago.
Right.
The present owner lien search is not going to find that,
right,
that was done correctly. So when they go to close and they buy the property and we go to do title insurance, they say, whoa, the inheritance tax was not paid back on this estate 20 years ago. It needs to be paid.
Right.
So, but investors don't like to do the full search because it costs too much money and it's lengthy in time. So they usually just do a present owner, and that's the minimal that I would do.
So you go back, on a normal policy, you go back 60 years?
Correct.
So what happens if there was some type of lien or mechanic's lien or something like that 70 years ago? Is the buyer covered on that?
Yes, the buyer would be covered. We only go back 60 years, a certain time, because it's probably been transferred a few times by that, within the last 60 years. So all those things should have been caught somewhere along the line.
Okay. So again, it's really an insurance policy that if something would happen, God forbid, over the years, something would come up, you're covered. And then, so how are you covered if you're sued? If the buyer would be sued by somebody that claims that they own the property or some strange situation like that, then your insurance policy that I bought covers whatever they're suing for.
Correct. The most common example is taxes. Like we just paid out probably $2,000 something because inadvertently we missed taxes, and so that's covered. So I just pay that because you bought the insurance that there was no liens against the property, and if the taxes were due from the prior owner, that's not your responsibility, and we insured you, so we pay that. A crazy one we just had was we did a short sale, and in the boilerplate, the small print, it says that this payoff could change all the way up to the date of settlement. So they gave us a payoff. We sent the payoff in. And they said, "Oh, there's some more per diem you have." So it was like $2,000. So we had no choice. We had to take the money and pay it.
You had to pay it?
Well, I had to pay it. I had to pay it.
You had to pay it.
And then they came back again and said, "Oh, wait, there's taxes that were paid out of the escrow, and so we need to add that to the payoff." So this is like a week after settlement, and they're still changing the payoff.
Wow.
But I insured the buyer, so and it was a short sale, so I wasn't getting the money off of anybody. So we learned a lesson. So
yeah, interesting.
So you want to make sure you get title insurance.
Okay. Is the price of title insurance, is that a standard price no matter where you go, or does that title insurance vary depending on if I use Pride or if I use somebody else down the road?
Title insurance is regulated by the state.
Okay.
So everybody charges the same exact fee.
Okay.
And it's based on either the purchase price or loan amount if it's a refinance. Okay. So whatever it is, we have a chart that says, okay, this is exactly what you have to charge. Title company cannot charge more, cannot charge less.
That right?
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. So there's another brochure that has the pricing in it. And so I notice this might be a common question from a realtor, is that it looks like there are two types of insurance. There's like a standard and then there's an enhanced.
Correct.
What would be the difference between them?
There's a lot of differences. There's probably about 20 different differences. I'll point out a few. One is, let's say you buy a property, they put up a pool, and they didn't get permits, and it's too close to the property line. You buy it, now you got to move the pool. That can be a claim. Somebody could have built a garage without permits, and you buy it, find out that the garage was built encroaching on somebody else's land. You got to move it. That's a claim you can file. You're covered against that.
Okay.
The good thing is it increases every year the policy by 10% up to 150% of the loan policy. So if you buy it this year for a $100,000 policy to cover $100,000, next year it's 110, then 120. It goes all the way up to 150. So in 5 years, as the price of the value of the property goes up, so does the amount of the coverage you get. So that's a nice.
Does the enhanced cover those easements and things like that, or is that still covered under standard?
No, only under the enhanced.
Okay. So title insurance not only covers liens and judgments, it also covers encroachments,
encumbrances, like I explained. Yeah.
Easements, like if there's an electrical easement across the backyard that I might be buying the property and I didn't know about it, you're going to find that out.
Correct. That all the easements are listed usually in the policy.
Okay.
So, Med Ed or gas pipelines, they're all recorded in the courthouse. So they're all on your policy and in your deed. So
just by chance you have an electrical easement go across the backyard, you're just notifying the buyer of that?
Yes.
There's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing we can do about it, right?
So as long as they know that the electric company can come in and do something with the wiring.
Correct.
Underground or above.
Correct.
Okay.
The most common kind of easements in that are like driveways, right-of-ways for the neighbor. You want to make sure that we find those and let you know about that. You wake up the next morning, your neighbor's got his car parked in your front lawn because there's a deed restriction in there, or an easement, I'm sorry.
Any funny stories about like something that you could think about as far as like an easement goes, like that you ever had?
Most of them are
straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward. We somebody bought an apartment complex in Easton, and there was no parking at all. So they had an agreement with the neighbor that they can park all the tenants can park on this parcel of land.
Okay.
And so the bank finally allowed it to go through, but that was unique. But we have a lot of driveway easements. If you have a shared driveway, a lot of the mortgage companies want you to have a maintenance agreement on who pays for what. If you're sharing the driveway or the road with your neighbor, so that's that becomes an issue. So
okay, All right. So, I mean, big advice here, obviously, is make sure you purchase title insurance when you're buying a property, because it covers a lot of different things that you probably didn't even know that it covers.
No.
So just talking about your business here, this is your main office here in Coopersburg. You're a co-owner.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
The other co-owner is
my wife, Rose.
your beautiful wife, Rose.
Yes. She does a lot of closings and
yeah, see her around a lot. So question would be here is how is it working with your wife? You know, like 24/7. You know, everything at home and everything that goes on here.
She hasn't killed me yet. All right, I can say that's all I can say about that. But no, it's been a pleasure working with her. You know, just like any other relationship, you know, it could be tough at times, but you know, we get through it. We have a lot of good times. We love what we do. We love people. We love closing. So it's rewarding.
Really,
it's very rewarding.
Yeah. And then you go on some awesome vacations too,
yeah, we do.
Right? Take a break from the title.
You're right. 24/7, 365.
All right, that's great. I mean, I used to work with my wife. We both were in the high school together, but she was in her classroom on one side of the building. I was in my classroom on the other side of the building, and everyone would ask us, how does it, you know, what's it like to work with Steph every day? And I'm like, honestly, I don't even see her. You know, like she's in her room, doesn't leave her room very often. And I was busy in my room, you know, and maybe we would pass. Like people would say, well, don't you guys eat lunch together? Don't you go to faculty, you know, meetings together? And I'm like, no, not really. We're on different lunch schedules. And when we have a faculty meeting, we want to sit with our friends or our departments, you know, so.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have different offices here.
We have different offices, but we're still pretty close. So, you know, the doors are open and, you know.
Nice.
We have lunch together, breakfast together, dinner together.
That's great.
It is awesome.
How about, I mean, just a few crazy questions here, but what would be the strangest place that you think you ever had a closing? Can you think of anything?
Oh man, we've done them in prisons. We've done it in hospitals.
Yeah.
The craziest one, I think, it was I was closing a refinance on Westchester Pike at a McDonald's, just off 476, and it was like a 5 o'clock closing, and I kept calling the people, and they said, "Yeah, we're on our way. We're on our way." Like an hour and a half later, they showed up, and they were drunk.
Oh.
And I said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, we had to stop by a VFW." I said, "You got to be kidding me!" I said, "You're an hour and a half late." And so I had to tell him, say, I can't close this loan. You're not coherent. I said, that's a way for you to get out of not paying the mortgage back. So they were quite mad, but I said, you're way too drunk. You shouldn't even be driving, you know.
Wow.
So that was the craziest one we ever did.
Yeah.
I ever did anyway, yeah.
Well, I mean, you had some crazy ones even during COVID. I remember closing. We had a couple closings in your parking lot under a tent out here.
Yeah. We had the tent set up with the heater, and we would stand outside the tent while they're inside signing on a table.
I would be sitting in my truck. Sending one over at a time. But I remember closing outside our office. You actually did the paperwork on the hood of your car.
Done. Right? I've done that one. Yeah.
Go in the office, but same thing outside.
Yeah, we got to think. You got to think outside the box.
I was just gonna say that, like that's one thing about you, Walt. It's like you're always thinking outside the box.
Yeah,
you know, that's really cool that you do that. And then you know you do really cool things for the community. I mean, we do a lot of give back things. Every time I ask you to do something, you guys always do it. Plus, you do all your own things. Like I know right now you even have. I forgot to bring some coats, but you have a coat drive going.
Got a coat drive going on. Toys for Tots. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Coat drive.
Coat drive. Food drive. I picked up
Toys
a box
for
for Toys for Tots. We're gonna put a box.
Yeah, great. Yeah, we had
so many things you do.
Yeah, we had a bingo for first responders. Raised $900. You know,
nice.
All the real estate community. You know, a lot of realtors came and played bingo and helped, you know, give some money back to the firehouse. So it was fun.
Very cool.
Yeah. We like giving back.
Yep.
You know.
Love that. We love working with people that do that. So.
And you're big on that yourself.
Yep.
So,
Switching over just about, I mean, we talked a little about marketing, we talked about title, but every day you come in contact with real estate agents, you know, closings, just, questions, problem solving, everything like that. And so you're very familiar with real estate. You keep up to date with real estate and everything. So just a question about real estate here. Do you think that we're in this so-called housing bubble and there's going to be a crash in the real estate market like some of the media tends to portray? Or what's your opinion on it? Because you've been through this. I haven't been through all the different. I've only been in a seller's market for the 5 or 6 years. So I've never even seen a buyer's market. You've been through the cycles, so you have a really good idea of history in the past. What do you think about what's going on right now?
Yeah, it's the same old saying. What goes up comes down. What goes down goes back up. We're probably going to see a slowdown without a doubt. But
you look seeing a slowdown now?
Yeah, we're slowing down. But you look back at 2005, it was just booming, and then 2008 we had the crash. But we still all did business,
Right.
We've always have
People
done
are always
well.
going to
So,
buy
and
homes,
if they're always
sell
going to buy
homes.
homes, and we were selling homes. My first interest rate was 12.5%. I mean, so. You look at 6%, you're like, it's not bad. But you can always refinance. I would suggest anybody who wants to buy a home, just buy it if you can afford it right now.
Right.
And then the rates will go back down and refinance.
It's all a cycle.
Yeah, it's all a cycle. So.
Okay. So that's good advice.
Yeah.
All right. And the other thing is obviously you meet realtors every day. You know so many different realtors out there. In all of your years, what do you think makes a top producing agent so successful as you'll see an average real estate agent or somebody that only sells, like maybe one home a year? Is there anything that you can attest that to?
Yes.
You see a lot of personalities too.
Oh,
I couldn't even imagine.
A lot of them.
Working with realtors is like,
my saying's always been, we're not in the personality business. So we close for everybody and anybody.
Right.
If I started letting people's personalities sway my decision to do business, not that I wouldn't do any business. But what it comes down to, I think, is the realtor who markets, networks, invests money back into their business. That's what makes a successful real estate agent, and full time,
right,
and very communicative. You want to make sure you communicate with your buyers, your sellers. That makes such a difference and who you work with. Because if you work with a lender that's dropping the ball and screwing your deal up, it shines on you. If I'm a title company and I'm sitting at the closing and it's just been a nightmare working with the title company, it reflects on you. So it's really the team. I feel that real estate agents are like a football team, and you're the quarterback. And if you have one varsity player, boom.
Yeah,
you're gonna lose the game. So you just want to make sure that you have all the right people, and it makes you look good.
Totally agree. Just have one missing link, and the whole thing could.
It reflects right back on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And reputation. I mean, I always say reputation is everything.
Yeah.
And the other thing is relationships. I know with my team is like we're very relationship bound. With relationships with our clients, and they're not just buying a product. They're kind of buying us. They're buying what we put into it, and they're buying into our team and trusting us. And so that's why every part of the business we try to, get the right link, get the right person, get the right team. So like you said,
I have to admit, Bill, you and your team, every single settlement, everybody's well informed, everybody's happy, and it's always a smooth ride. So I do appreciate doing business with you.
Thank you for saying that.
It's
great. We're producers saying that we're just about out of time here. just with maybe the last minute or two, anything that you want to say just to summarize?
What can I say just to summarize?
Any advice or
Any
our
advice?
audience out there? You gave some advice
Well,
already.
like I said, of course, look to Bill if you want to buy a house or sell a house. Bill Safranek and the EXP team there up in Bethlehem.
Thanks.
As far as a title company goes, you want somebody who's local. You know, you don't want somebody from Pittsburgh doing title. It's just they don't know the area. They don't know the people. You know, it's like you don't have skin in the game. You know, when I go to settlement,
Huge.
I'm not just looking to close this deal. I want to build a relationship, and that's what you want.
Awesome.
So, and Pennsylvania, New Jersey will operate for you. So
He's the guy. Pride Abstract.
thanks, Bill.
What's your motto?
If you're gonna do it with pride.
Yeah. So we want to thank you, Walt, for being in our show today. We also want to thank New Street Digital, Tim Unger, and crew for help us create the show. And once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.
Thanks.